Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Friday, the 15th of November. Well, it was one winner. It was a final selection that won. It was backed in from 7-2 to, at one point, I think it was 7-4 favourite, and I think it returned 5-2. Airshow ran a cracker. The problem is it went too hard, too early, and it paid the price. I think it lost fourth place by, I think it was about a head, maybe a neck. That drifted out to about 18-1 at one point. Not quite sure what it returned. The other two, to be honest, were garbage. So it was a losing day. I hope we did well out of the selections. Well, the selection that did win, but obviously it was a losing day, and it's on to Cheltenham for Friday. Well, already I think we're beginning to see the Dan Skelton effect. Not because he's knocking in the winners, because he famously took out his horse because of the quick ground, and now you're seeing good ground at a lot of the courses and very few runners. We've got two runners, four runners, four runners, four runners, and that's just four of the races that I saw. So absolutely dreadful, and I think you're going to see more and more of this. So I'm not going to elaborate on that. So these are horse racing selections for Friday, the 15th of November, and they are at Cheltenham. So I've increased the stakes, not because I fancy them more. I had a bit of a winning day the other day, and what I thought is I'll have a five pence each way, lucky 63, taking the prices, and yes, a five pence each way, lucky 63 at SP. And there's a very tasty price. There's a 100-1 chance. And I tell you what, I think it's got the third best form in the race, which you may find surprising, but I'm going to tell you and show you. So, well, I'm not going to show you, I'll tell you, and then just do your own little bit of research then, because I've opened the wrong tab and I don't want to go searching. So, the first selection in the bet is American Sniper. I'm not going to keep saying I've left the price. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show you the bet where I've taken the prices just to give you a heads up of what the prices are. So the five pence each way, the second five pence each way, lucky 63. The first selection is American Sniper at 15-2 in the 10 past 1 at Cheltenham, paying six places instead of four. Well, this horse won this race last year. It is now off a £1 higher mark. It comes into this race this year in better form than it did last year when it won. It was one of the very few horses in this race. I don't think there's a pace angle or anything like that, but it was one of the very few horses that came from off the pace. The other first four that filled the placings all raced prominently. I don't think there was any. Oh well, they clearly couldn't have been any. Well, no, not clearly. There wasn't any draw, but what am I talking about? Forget draw bias. There wasn't any pace bias. I just find it interesting that this one was the only one that came from mid division, where all the rest were prominent. Like I said, it's only £1 higher than it was last year. It comes into the race in better form. I can never get David Pipe correct. And the reason why they gave this horse for improving to win the race last year was it enjoyed the first time fitting of the tongue strap. Well, it's pretty much kept the tongue strap since, but it has got a first time blinkers this time. I normally go off that, but it's the first time factor that's attracted me to it. And the fact that it's fit, unlike a lot of these, half decent prize money at stake. And I'd like to think that they're all trying because it's Cheltenham. I won't imagine they're just running them here to get them ready for, well, not to get them ready, to see if they handle the course for the Cheltenham Festival. I would imagine they're coming for the prize money, and it's a biggish meeting. So yeah, American Sniper. The second selection. The second selection is Sweet David at 15-2 in the 255 at Cheltenham. That's paying first three, and there's a bit of a money back special with Sky Bet, but I can't be doing with that. Does my head in. I'd soon have extra places. Sweet David has come from France, and I do believe Felix de Giles also rides over there now. I don't know if he lives and stays over there all the time, but I'm pretty sure he rides in France now, along with James Reevely. So this selection, it's fit. It's had two recent runs. It's running well, stays the trip. These French horses, a lot of them are well known for liking these cross country races. I believe a lot of the horses that it's up against may not be quite fully tuned up. This horse should be, and I think it's got a decent chance. And that is basically all I can tell you about that horse. The third selection is, yeah, Belgo Prince at 10 to 1 in the 4 o'clock at Cheltenham, paying 5 places instead of 4. So this is trained by AJ Martin, the guy who's, I believe, just come back from a suspension and also just had his horse reinstated, Alfonso de la Grande, is it, or something like that? That horse was reinstated in the Cesarewitch. Well, there's a bit in the Racing Post saying they're all out celebrating because he come to Cheltenham. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if is it. I'm not sure. Is it Andrew Martin or some another Martin? But anyway, AJ Martin, let's call him. So A Martin has also got a runner in American Snipers race, and that was originally my first pick. However, only because the horse is impossible to read. And I'm talking about the 10 past 1 now. I've just switched slightly to Andrew Martin's other horse in the 110 at Cheltenham. It's got no form whatsoever, and that doesn't mean anything with this trainer. So if you like that horse, don't let me put you off it by giving up American Sniper. So do me a favour, have a look at that horse in the 10 past 1 at Cheltenham. If you fancy it, you go for it. But all I'm saying is, I changed my mind in the end, went for American Sniper, but I could just imagine him getting a double up and being interviewed a couple of times and say, welcome back and all that kind of stuff. You know, like, there always seems to be so many coincidences where all of a sudden there's an event where they need to interview him, and maybe the interviewing event could be associated with the Cesarewitch, and I don't know. I'm just talking nonsense now. It's my conspiratorial outlook of it. So Belgo Prince at 10 to 1 in the 4 o'clock at Cheltenham, paying 5 places instead of 4. So now I'm heading to Wolverhampton. I tell you what, I do like the look of these. There is some stinking prices, and there's also a big price. So obviously, like I said, I've taken the prices in one of the bets and left them in the other. So this horse is Caparis Kid at 6 to 1 in the 4:25 at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. So this selection, it's ridden by Jack Doherty. Well, he owes me nothing after riding Lord Melbourne to an absolute cracker at this on Saturday when I selected it for the November handicap. This horse, it was a matter of elimination because some of the dangers, in my opinion, were drawn a bit too wide. This horse, to be fair, I can't remember exactly. Take a look at it. If you fancy it, back it. Tony Carroll, decent trainer on the all-weather. I think it's been a little bit quiet last couple of seasons. In my opinion, I should tell you this now. I was going to do a little video on it. Do keep an eye on do keep an eye on trainers with multiple runners, because several years ago I didn't get the bet up, but I did notice, and this is going back some years now, Mary Reevely and Peter Niven regularly used to do it just for Christmas, get huge accumulators up, big price trebles, and she was very well known for having big priced reverse forecast. And I always remember there was a reverse forecast she had in a bumper, and it was like 25 to 1 and 33s, and she trained them both, and she was very good at training bumpers, and it was a huge forecast. But regularly, she did normally have a decent price accumulator just before Christmas, and it's just like, in my opinion, I know it's happened since, well, it happens regularly, but I think sometimes the stable like gets a bit of a plot together to like pay for Christmas for the stable. They've chuck a few quid in, have a bet, and say 3 horses or whatever it is, and we know how it works. Unlucky, always behind, those kind of horses, and all of a sudden they're well backed, end up being a quarter of the price by the time we get to them, and they have a huge price treble. So that tends to happen a bit before Christmas. So as I'm saying, I've gone off topic now. Tony Carroll was one I predicted a couple of years back to do it, and also Billy Loughnane. Well, neither of them actually did a huge price accumulator, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's somebody in the headlines before Christmas that has a huge price treble. I'm not talking 100 to 1 treble. I'm talking like 15,500 to 1 accumulator or treble. Something, well, no, probably not treble, but you know what I mean. I do believe it wouldn't surprise me if that comes soon. So if you see a trainer with a number of horses, or not too many, like 3 or 4, that you might fancy, think about chucking them together in a bet. Crikey, what will that waffle on about? Anyway, the next selection is Scarlet Lady at 13-2 in the 5 o'clock at Wolverhampton, paying 4 places instead of 3. And that's it. So I like the look of this horse. There are a number of horses, once again, that are drawn slightly high that are looking to challenge the favourite with. Well, Billy Loughnane, in my opinion, unless he goes abroad to ride this winter, I think he'll be knocking the winners in left, right and centre. And maybe I've just answered my own question regarding a huge price accumulator. Billy Loughnane, maybe. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on him anyway. But I don't think you'll get huge prices for Billy Loughnane. But one thing I will say while I'm talking about the Loughnane, keep an eye on the Loughnane. Are they brothers, cousins? I think they're brothers. The David Loughnane and Mark Loughnane. Keep an eye on them when they both have a runner in the same race on the all-weather. So many times they'll win it with the outsider, and so many times they've had the forecast. So keep an eye on that. But this horse, I like the look of it. I can't elaborate because I forgot why I liked it. I think it's well handicapped. Take a look at it yourself. But I also, Philip McBride it seems to go ages without a winner. And then all of a sudden, you'll see a lot of his horses much shorter than they should be, and he's knocking in the winners left, right and centre. And normally it is towards the back end of the flat season or on the all-weather, the winter on the all-weather. Right, I'm not going to say this is my nap of the day, but I'm going to say this is my huge dark horse, and it's from a friend of the channel. It's Jonathan Portman. So this horse, right, Prima Diva is 100-1 in the 5:30 at Wolverhampton. I really hope they change this into a paying 8 places instead of 3. Well, 4 places instead of 3. So this horse, it's done a racing post rating of 60 last time. The second, third, and fourth favourites in this race are very close to that. I think they're just above it, round about 63, right? So there's nothing in it. Jonathan Portman does pretty well with his horses at Wolverhampton. I'm trying to think of them now. I think he's got Way of Life that normally runs here quite regular. And these colours, I think it's called something Philly. Doesn't tell you there. It's like the Silly Fillies. Maybe that's what the syndicate's called. But Jonathan Portman does pretty well around there. Olivia Tubb, I think that's the jockey, just double check. Yeah, Olivia Tubb can ride. My only issue is it's the third run. And it's drawn a tad wide. Not too wide, but it's drawn a tad wide. It's like something like 8-13, I think it is. So Prima Diva, I think it's got a chance. It shouldn't be, what I'm telling you now, it shouldn't be 100-1. Realistically, if I'm being honest, I don't know if the price will be shorter because I don't know if there's inside lines to the bookmakers as in like, but it's the third run and it's drawn a bit wide. So realistically, in my opinion, this should be 20-1, 16s and 20s because its form's right behind what will be the placed horses. It's just that, are they trying for a handicap mark? Or are they trying for an actual place? So I don't know. So those are the 6 selections. I'm looking forward to Saturday, although in my opinion, it's garbage. Apart from Cheltenham, and I've not even looked how many how many runners there are. I'm not feeling it. I like the Cheltenham card because is it Paddy Power Gold Cup, whatever it is, whatever it's called. I used to enjoy watching that race. And these were won by John Joe O'Neill that always used to run in it, and it died. I can't remember what it was called. It always used to come second. Put it in the comments if you can remember, but I've been very vague. A horse trained by John Joe O'Neill that runs in the Paddy Power Gold Cup that comes second, but also won it as well. Tony McCoy rode it as well. I do believe. I may be wrong. God, I'm not narrowing this down, Anna, but I think you'll know what it is. Anyway, I wish you the very best of luck. I appreciate all the comments that you're leaving. Really appreciate it. Let's chuck a few likes on. And also, Matador, I appreciate the coffee that you bought me. Thank you very much. I'll get that in about a week's time, so I appreciate that. So I wish you the very best of luck. If you give me a like or a subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, that's fine. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.